If you want to understand manipulation, you have to understand intermittent reinforcement. Let's talk about it. Hey y'all, I'm Kobe and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am excited to chat with you guys. If you don't know me, I am a licensed therapist. I specialize in trauma and I love to provide resources to help all of us heal and do it together. Today, I want to talk about something that I think would really help a lot of people if we understood that it exists and we understood its purpose, because it touches deeply in manipulation, which is at the core of a lot of emotional, physical, sexual, all abuse, right? So I want to talk today about what we call intermittent reinforcement. So what is intermittent reinforcement? First of all, it's so hard for me to say that and I don't know why. Intermittent reinforcement is when someone shows you that they can give you what you have been asking for, but then in certain contexts and situations, they withhold it. What does that look like in real life, in real application? So imagine you're dating somebody and you're like, man, I just want to be romanced. I want to be wined, dined, flowered, all the things. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And in the beginning of the relationship, they give you the flowers, they give you, the dates, they give you the affection and all the things that you're looking for. And then one day you don't get it. And another day you don't get it. And another day you don't get it. And then you're like, hey, what's going on? What happened? And they're like, what do you mean? And you're like, oh, well, you're not doing all the things you used to do. And then they're like, oh, yeah. Then they hop in, start doing it again. And then the next time they stop doing it, it's not just a couple days, it's a week. And then you're like, oh, what happened? And then they're like, oh, yeah, I promise you I'll change. They hop back in, right? And then the next time, it's not a week, it's 3 months. And then you're like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, what? What do you mean? And then you're like, you're not whining and dining me like you did before. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, I promise I'll get back to it. And they do it for a little bit. And then the next time it stops, it's a year, right? And then you look back and you've spent a year, 2 years, a decade with this person who you know has the capacity to be the person to you that you need, but does not do it consistently, right? That's what we call intermittent reinforcement. They can give you what they want, but they withhold it in certain situations and in certain contexts. But what is the purpose of intermittent reinforcement? It is hard to leave situations, it is hard to leave relationships, it is hard to leave contexts that you know have the capacity to give you what you want. When someone's experiencing intermittent reinforcement, it is really hard for them to say this relationship no longer serves me because they have a lot of evidence for when it did serve them, right? And then they're like, well, maybe I just need to be more patient. Maybe I just need to wait longer. Maybe there's something I'm doing that I need to change for this person to be more likely to show up in the ways that I've made clear that they can, right? So we start trying to motivate the person externally and we start assessing their behavior. This is what we call practice scanning. You're noticing okay, this is I can tell by their face, their tone that they're angry, or they slammed the door really hard when they came home from work. So they must be upset, or they didn't say okay with an exclamation point. They just put the letter K in the text, and you're constantly scanning and you become hyper vigilant, which is a form of trauma activation. You become hyper vigilant. And then staying hypervigilant for a long period of time develops into anxiety, and you become anxiously attached to this person, right? You become anxious about your relationship with them, anxious about what you need to do to earn these good things, earn these things that you need to feel safe in a relationship from them. But here's the thing. If someone loves you, they will do their best to help you always feel safe. And you know that's true because that's what you would do in a relationship, and that's what you do in relationships, right? But in context of manipulation, the thing that we need is presented, then withdrawn. presented, then withdrawn. This is not just true for romantic relationships. This is true for platonic friendships as well. This is true of parent-child relationships as well. I can be nice. I can be loving. I can be attentive, but I'm going to punish you a little bit and pull back from you. And not only is the pulling back a punishment, the pulling back can become really confusing and disorienting to the person who's on the receiving end, because they're thinking to themselves, there's no clear reason for me to leave because I know that they can, right? And you start to think like maybe their mood change or maybe their ability to give me what I want is like based on circumstances that no one can control. But they can control the circumstances. Not every circumstance, but there are some people who know how to be kind no matter how hard things get, right? Because it's in them. It's part of who they are. It's part of their character. It's part of their personality, right? So if this person can only be loving to you when they get exactly what they want from you, are they manipulating you? If this person can only be affectionate to you when you never make a mistake, are they manipulating you? If this person can only be affirming and affectionate when you give them exactly what they want, are they manipulating you? I'm going to let you answer that question. Are they manipulating you? Are you experiencing intermittent reinforcement? It makes it so hard to leave situations that are not consistently serving you. And I'm not talking about crisis has happened, someone is wounded, or someone's experiencing a depressive episode and things are just shifting. No, that's normal. And that includes communication as well. I'm talking about when someone for years on end keeps you around, promising you something that they've never consistently given to you, but they have given to you in spurts, right? That's true of spiritual communities too. That's what makes it so hard. And also, this is what makes it so hard to clock abusers, because they're not always mean people. Sometimes they're nice, and sometimes they're really, really nice. Sometimes they're really, really generous. Sometimes they're really, really kind. They intermittently reinforce good things about themselves around certain people. So when the people who are not receiving the kindness, the generosity, the love, the affection speak up, they don't even have to defend themselves. There's already a chorus of people willing to speak up and say they would never. Well, they would never to you, but they might to me, right? Or even if it's just one person and you're in a relationship with someone who is abusive verbally or emotionally, they might say some choice words to you or about you that are really painful and abusive and really hurtful, but they'll always be able to reference the last time they called you beautiful. They'll always be able to reference the last sweet thing they did for you, right? And what they do is they try to make a pattern seem like an instance, when really the instance is a part of a pattern, right? They give, but they always take more than they give. And sometimes they give you more frequently, but they don't give you more in volume. Does that make sense? I can deposit 15 cents into an account 4 times. That is going to give me 60 cents. But if I withdraw $700, I only made one withdrawal, but the withdrawal in value and in volume was greater than the deposits, right? And so you'll find yourself counting like, oh, they did this nice thing this one time, and this nice thing this one time, and this nice thing this one time. And it will try to, those small positive moments will try to talk you out of the large, painful moments that they've caused in your life. And so I want to present all this information to you, not to be some person on the internet telling you that you're being abused, not to be some person on the internet telling you that everyone around you is a narcissist and abuser. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, based on the information presented, where do you think you stand in some of your most important and most meaningful and most intimate relationships? Are you around someone who wants to continuously be there for you? And if they can't, can communicate why they can't or why they're struggling? Or are you around someone who is more mean to you, more harmful to you than they are kind, but they have enough kind instances that you rationalize why the relationship should be maintained? Manipulation is hard to clock from the inside. When you're out of it and you have a distance, you can see it, right? People who manipulate are not dumb enough to always be mean. They're not dumb enough to always be manipulative. They're not dumb enough to always be hurtful. Many times they are only hurtful in as much as they need control and power. And so they incrementally increase in their abusive behaviors with specific people in the same way that they will like correlate in positive behaviors with other people. Like they'll like be getting meaner to you and nicer to everyone else, right? They're developing a resource of people who will fight for them, even if what comes out about them comes out. Even if it comes out, they will have an army ready to attack you rather than people curious about whether it's possible, right? One thing I know about the work that I do is nothing is impossible to anyone. Like truly, like I have seen the depths of human depravity and I've seen the height of human good. Really, I've seen like, oh man, this is why God loves human beings. And I've been like, and this is why this entire place should be set on fire. Like I've seen it all. I really have. And one thing I've found is abusers are kind, they're loving, and they're incredibly generous. And sometimes they give as much as they give and as publicly as they give to cover up some of the things that they've taken in private. So this wasn't a happy, cheery episode, but it was heavy on my heart. I was like, you know what? I think I want to talk about, I changed the subject last minute because I was like, I think I want to talk about understanding intermittent reinforcement. I'm getting something from them, yes, but how much am I getting and how often am I getting it? Them being good to you is not good enough. The frequency at which they show up for you in kindness, that is also telling as well. So I hope this episode helped you. And if you want to be with a community of people who may be asking the same questions as you, I want you to know that I have partnered with an organization called Kinship. Kinship is a place for authentic conversation and real connection. It's a place where you can hear talks like this and then process with other people who are thinking and going through the exact same things as you. If you use the code KOBE, K-O-B-E, you get 1 free month. You get to try it for 1 month completely for free. Again, the code is KOBE, K-O-B-E, at ourkinship.com. Make sure to rate or like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll chat more in the comment section. And let me know if you want me to go more in depth or if there are subjects connected to this that you want me to chat about as well. Talk to you guys soon.